Hello everyone, I'm Professor Geek, and welcome to day 16 of my 31 days of Halloween reviews. Today, for the third time this month, we're going to return to the Archies. First we looked at The Afterlife with Archies, and then we looked at The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. We're going to look at one incarnation today, and we've got a couple more to come actually before the end of the month. As I mentioned in that Afterlife with Archies video, I'm a huge fan of the Archies, always have been ever since a child, and never really stopped. Always loved picking up those digests in the grocery stores and whatnot, and followed quite a few titles. Jughead was my favorite, definitely. And even a fan now of the Riverdale show. It's not the most artistically written thing in the world, but it's an interesting film noirish take on these characters. What fascinates me about the Archies, though, is how I can't think of any other property or any other group of characters within a fictional universe that's that malleable, and they're really able to be interpreted in any kind of number of different ways and angles and genres, but it never really affects their core, which is just those innocent teenagers in Riverdale having fun. And no matter how dark you make the story, you're always going to return it never alters their core of who they are. So you can do a lot of different things with them for fun. So the incarnation I'm talking about today is the cartoon that aired in 1999, 2000, the Archie's Weird Mysteries series. This is an enormously fun cartoon. Every now and then I'll stumble across one of those snarky, stupid little top 10 articles or looper, nonsense articles like, Archie incarnations you won't believe existed or whatever, and they try to make fun of this series as though it's somehow subpar. Really, really ignorant take. This series is really made for horror fans, or for at least fans of those monster films, kind of cheesy sci-fi B-movie type films. The series is a parody, not full parody, not full-on satire, but you gotta realize, so it came out in 1999. Buffy had just started airing in 97, so it's only a few years after Buffy. Right around this time, too, there were the Scooby-Doo animated movies, in which it was a big deal because Scooby-Doo and the Mystery Inc. gang were actually going to start battling and encountering real monsters. In the cartoon series, of course, it had always been somebody dressing up as a monster, and it was just a mystery to solve who was trying to appear as a supernatural entity. But it was a big deal. I remember it was billed, the first film they did, Scooby-Doo, this time the monsters are real and stuff like that. So those movies were pretty popular at the time. And the Archies themselves, as a group of teenage cartoon characters, had inspired Scooby-Doo. Scooby-Doo brought the supernatural element and the mystery kind of element to it, but that group of animated teenagers was began by the Archies. So it's kind of neat coming full circle now that we have the Archies and there's a mystery and supernatural element here. So it's a children's show, meaning that it's safe for children, but it's not really a children's show in that there's plenty of references and little things that children are never going to get and adults will get, and especially fans of these old movies will understand and catch the references. There's a great episode that references the Attack of the 50-Foot Woman, and Veronica's the one who grows. And there's even a scene, little things that adults would catch that children wouldn't really catch, but there's a scene where Veronica keeps going through these growth spurts, and becomes this colossal figure. And at one point she's in the pool and she's had to sew some different bathing suits together because no real actual normal bathing suit would fit her. But she goes through another growth spurt and she grabs the tent that was next to the pool just in time to cover herself. But you see the crowd's reactions. You see all of the her friends that were invited to the pool party, and you see the guys get this big smile all of a sudden, so you know what's going on. So it's elements like that. It's not just this cheesy little innocent, it's cheesy, but it's cheesy on purpose. It's not this little innocent, cartoon just for children. It really is a lot of fun, and I highly recommend it to anybody who likes those old monster movies. So that I got that, the approach and the genre of the show. The premise behind it is basically that Riverdale is kind of like Buffy's Hellmouth. It's this little town, this little seemingly innocent town that's apparently drawing all of these phenomena. And I think at some point in the series, it lasted for 2 seasons. At some point, I'm still making my way through the entire thing, but at some point you find out that something in Dilton's physics lab was the original central event that brings all of this phenomena into the little town of Riverdale. But it's a lot of fun with that. The dynamics between the friends, the Archie gang, is pretty much the same. All the characters are pretty much the same. as you would imagine. A couple of slight little variations that I think is pretty good, though. Reggie isn't quite the total jerk bully that he is in some incarnations. He should be the black sheep. He should be the one that's a little more likely to prank somebody and to, be a little meaner, but I don't like it when they paint him as a total evil person. And he's not in this. He's one of their friends. And I like that aspect. And then also I like the fact that Archie isn't just wagging his tongue and totally girl crazy the entire series and just isn't, so enamored with Veronica and Betty and getting dates, as he is sometimes. That's okay in the comics sometimes, but I like it when he's got a little bit more of a personality, so to speak. And, even in the current Archie remake comics, the ones that are being written by Mark Waid, which are actually pretty good, Archie doesn't really have much of a drive at all in his life other than to be with Veronica, and it gets a little old, wears a little thin. But again, if a lot of teenage boys, there's often not much else there anyway. But in this cartoon, I really like it that he is a reporter for the Riverdale High School newspaper, and he has this column that he writes every week called Archie's Weird Mysteries. So he writes about all the weird and spooky phenomenon going on in town, kind of like Chloe in Smallville and her wall of weird, that kind of idea. So that's what his drive is really to keep investigating these things that happen and to, find out what's going on and write it all up in the next article. So that's really the impetus that moves the show along. And each episode ends with him typing in his room at night, typing the article up, and every episode ends with whatever he says in a little town called Riverdale. So it's a really great fun show. A lot of humor, a lot of little references to things that people will catch. The story arc I want to talk about specifically, and I want to recommend if you're interested in the show, if at least has piqued your interest, but you're not really going to go buy it or anything, a couple different channels on YouTube. I'll link to one, have the whole series and playlists on their channel there. So I'm going to talk about the little story arc from episode 31 to 33. It's a Halloween story arc. So it takes place over a Halloween weekend. And it starts the episodes, Scarlet Night, I Was a Teenage Vampire, and Halloween of Horror. And it's a great story, really takes place over these 3 episodes. You've got some elements of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. There's a master vampire who comes back to life, and if there's a prophecy that this night, if he can, do such and such, he can rule the world in a never-ending night. But there's one young maiden who's prophesied to be the Ender, and only she can stop him. So you definitely have some resonances of Buffy there on purpose. Obviously not trying to hide that at all. But you've got some other vampires. There's a vampire by the name of Scarlet who becomes a pretty central character, an interesting character. Her development through the 3 episodes, and just some really cool little twists and turns. And at the end of it, there's actually a really cool twist that I didn't see coming, and it makes more sense now with one of the names of one of the characters that didn't quite make sense at first. I thought it was just a silly, oversight or something like that, but you find out in the end, oh no, that name was actually meant to be that all along. It was kind of a foreshadowing thing that I just didn't take seriously. So it's a lot of fun. It's a fun show. I really recommend it for fans of the Archies, certainly, but also just for fans of these kind of, cheesy sci-fi movie, monster movie genres, and you're looking for something that's written for you with references that you will get. This is a great series to watch just for fun. It's not going to scare you. It's safe for children. I watch it with my daughter. I'm going to watch it with my nieces soon. So it's a lot of fun. And that's pretty much all I've got. Let me, have you ever seen this series? You might have heard of it, or maybe heard somebody snark about it or something in one of those stupid articles. But I let me know what your experience is with it. If it's totally new to you, does it sound intriguing at all? Let me know. We do have a couple of other titles from the Archie universe coming up, specifically Jughead the Hunger. I'll go ahead and tease that now, in which Jughead becomes a werewolf. So it's another sort of afterlife with Archie kind of idea, but this one is Jughead as a werewolf. We'll talk about that later, though. Just wanted to tease that. And lots more good stuff coming up from the end of the month. So check my other videos. I won't give the whole giveaway spiel again. I don't want to do that every video, but you can check out that. I am giving away something. Please like and share, and help me grow the channel. And hopefully by the end of this month, we'll reach our 250 subscription mark, and we can do the giveaway. Come back tomorrow at 6 for another review of a great Halloween / superhero / comic book related story. Until then, keep enjoying and digging deeper into the superhero and Halloween stories you love. Thanks for watching.